Hey, welcome, B-Siders, to a new episode. I'm glad you're here. And today we have the wonderful Dr. Melissa Corley-Carter in the B-Side hot seat. And she will obviously talk about music and she has some really cool stuff to share. But before we dive into that, I would love to introduce her to you a little bit more. And I'm going to look at my notes because there's some cool stuff that I want to get right. So she calls herself the Barefoot Dancing Rocket Scientist. Awesome. She is an actual rocket scientist, seven continent marathoner, astronaut reject, boo, that's not right, speaker and award winning author, and also a certified professional coach. Now, she has written a book in 2021. It's a coffee table book called Running the World Marathon Memoirs from the Seven Continents. And as far as I understand this, it was a two-sided thing for her. It was an outer journey, obviously, to experience the seven continents, but also an inner journey, digesting a lot that happened in her life and digesting, reflecting, and then putting that into a more powerful purpose, which I'm sure Melissa will fill in any gaps and blanks on that shortly. Welcome, Melissa. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Birgit. It's a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited for this chat. It's going to be really, really cool. I know your intro was probably a little bit longer than usual, but there's so many cool things that you have done in your life. And I mean, the first thing I do have to kind of ask you is astronaut reject. What was that all about? Please share. It's not like
Well,
every day you get to talk to someone that did that. So give us a bit of a background. What happened?
well, interestingly enough, it's gonna play into the music side of what we talk about. But I
Yeah.
actually spent 20 years wanting to be an astronaut, from the time I was in fifth grade. And, I know lots of people grow up wanting to be astronauts, but I never got over it, right? So I worked for it for 20 years. I studied all the math and science, got a bunch of engineering degrees, got a PhD in astronautical engineering, so hence the rocket science piece. And but I had always had bad eyesight, and eventually I knew that they would start to accept eye surgery, and they did. They started accepting eye surgery for people who were applying, and I got LASIK, and so I had 20/20 vision for the first time. I was actually eventually actually qualified to apply, and in
Mm-hmm.
2012 there was a class opening, and they were asking for applications. So it was the first time I was qualified to apply. I put in my application, so excited. It was a whole process. Our song will get involved in the mix, but what happened was actually I was in the Air Force at the time. I still am as a reservist, but I was active duty. And so I had to apply through the Air Force first. And they selected me to go forward to NASA. And then NASA actually medically disqualified me for my pre LASIK eyesight. So my eyesight before I got eye surgery was so bad that I was disqualified anyway. So never. So it was a dark night of the soul for me. But it's funny because looking back on it, that was 11 years ago now. So it has been quite a recovery journey. But I've actually gotten to the point where, yeah, I actually kind of capitalize on the astronaut reject piece because it was such a central dream for me, and I just really want to communicate, even in just kind of approaching it a little bit comically, that sometimes our deepest pains can actually be our biggest awakenings, and can actually really be the greatest gifts in our lives. And I look back on it now as such a huge gift. It took me a long time to get there, I will not lie, but it has become such a gift, that I just want to communicate that actually, when our dreams are shattered, they are really just awakening us to a higher purpose. So that's kind of where I go with that.
Nice. I'm so glad you were able to turn that around eventually. And the thing that strikes me or just came I thought about when you shared that was you did say it took you a little bit longer, but does that really matter? Sometimes some people they do it in a shorter time period, other people
Mhm.
need a bit longer, but that's okay, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. It's all part of the journey.
Mm,
I think time, first, time is relative. We made up time as a concept, right? If you think
yeah.
about it, there's uh, eons and eons to the earth. Our lives are such a blink of an eye. So we think, oh, it took me 7 years to get over that. Okay, 7 years is actually not very long. So when you think about it, and I think everything really does happen for a reason. It takes
Mm,
it can take time to process things, and it's also layers upon layers. It's not like one
mm,
and done. Like you get over it in one night, or you just wake up one morning and you're better. Sometimes
yeah.
sometimes it feels like that. But what I have found is there will be mornings I wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm totally over it. I'm fine now. And then something will happen and kind of plunges you back into that experience. So it's
Mm,
more of a spiral development, as it were. You go through the process so many different times, waking up different parts of you that maybe have were kind of buried for a while you were processing in the background. I feel like for me, I have done a lot of processing in the background. Life was going on as normal, and it felt normal and probably looked normal to the outside world. But sometimes we actually sort of hide something until our bodies and nervous systems. I've actually done a lot of nervous system learning in the past couple of years, until our nervous systems are actually ready to handle it. And that's a protection mechanism that is, I think,
mhm.
quite helpful. So
Yeah,
you do have to be ready.
yeah, yeah. Obviously, you've hinted at it, and I want to bring the music piece in now, which people would probably laugh when they hear that the song that kind of relates to this whole journey of NASA and the astronaut rejected, etc. Share with us the song that kind of sort of helped you along this journey to digest everything that's been going on from that
hmm
side in your life.
Yeah, so the song is called "Where My Heart Will Take Me," and it's by Russell Watson, but it's probably more famously known as the theme song for the TV show Star Trek Enterprise. So I grew up as a humongous Star Trek fan. Incidentally, I never watched Enterprise when it first came out. Actually I had just not gotten into it. I was doing other things, and I knew that there was this song with words that was the intro, and I thought that was really dumb. I was like, seriously, we're gonna make a Star Trek series that has a song with words, like a pop song or whatever, as the intro? That's dumb. And so yes, a little prejudice. But incidentally, actually, right about the time it would have been around September of 2011, actually, when the astronaut call came out that there was going to be a class. I had actually just seen the first couple episodes with a friend who swore by Enterprise. He's like, "Don't worry about the song. You're going to start to love it. Just watch the show." And so we had watched a couple episodes, and I heard the astronaut thing, the call come out. And then the next episode I saw, I listened to the words of the song, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is my applying to be an astronaut song. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. So, flipped the switch, absolutely adored it, and actually raced through all 4 seasons of Enterprise in probably a month, like before binge watching was a thing. I actually did it. So, anyway, just the words, it was just amazing. It was really about, it's been a long road getting from there to here. It's been a long time, but my time is finally
Mhm.
near. And even like, and I'll see my dream come alive at last. I will touch the sky. And so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is it. This is my song. So I
Yeah.
listened to it over and over and over and over and over again, and like every day, and just felt the applying to be an astronaut vibes. It was really cool.
But the funny thing is, and from what I understand is it wasn't just for that particular moment. That song kind of followed you for some reason. It kept kind of popping its head up
hmm
saying, "Here I am, listen to
It
me."
did. It did.
Yeah. Share a bit about that for us.
Yes. So incidentally, so as my applying to be an astronaut theme, when I got the rejection notice and just, my life turned upside down, I actually had to stop listening to it. I just couldn't
Mhm.
listen to it anymore because it just didn't feel true anymore. I
Mhm.
felt shattered. I actually put I mean, I had the way I had my apartment set up at the time, I had all my Star Trek DVDs like right by my TV in my little living room, and I put them all in a closet because every time I looked at them, I would just start
Mhm.
crying, and it because it all just made everything so true and real.
Mhm.
So I did stop listening to my song and stopped all that for a while I sort of, first of all, just had no idea what to do with my life and had no idea who I was. I had wrapped so much of my identity around becoming an astronaut and told everyone I'd ever met that I
Mhm.
was going to do that, and everyone had said they could absolutely see me doing it. So anyway, just couldn't handle it. But incidentally, basically like years later. I don't think it took me years to listen to it again, but there were later times in my life as I was recovering and as I was finding new things that actually really inspired me and were actually more my purpose. And I'll share a little bit more about that in a little bit. But as I was discovering sort of a new me and a new path, as I listened to the words again, I I just had these huge epiphany moments of, oh my gosh, this song is even more true today. It's been a long road
Mhm.
getting from there to here. Okay, now it's been the road to really finding my true self and my true dreams. And it felt like every year, when I was at a new stage in my business or my life, I'd listen to it again and think, oh my gosh, I didn't think this song could be even more true, but now it is again. Now it is again, and now it is again. So it has really kind of become the theme song of my life. Even today, looking at the words again, it's like, wow, it felt like it was about being an astronaut then. Now it's about just being the human I was born to be, and it is so cool. And yeah, touching the sky for me now means something completely different.
Mm.
Really, because I think what I have learned from this whole process is really asking yourself what you want. If you're setting a big goal for yourself, what is it you want in that goal? Not the thing itself, but the thing behind the thing. I call it the goal behind the goal.
Mhm.
And for me, what I have discovered is that my original astronaut dream came from really an instinctive knowing of my spiritual connection with the universe. So
Ooh.
constantly always connected to the universe, I get to
Mm.
be one with the cosmos in every moment and touch the sky in every moment.
Mm.
And it also came, I think, from a desire to inspire people to greatness, the way that
Yeah.
astronauts had always inspired me. And then
Mm.
finally, from the vision of a unified and harmonious world, which, astronauts would
Mhm.
always say, you go up into space and look down on the Earth and you can't see borders from, with countries. It's all just this stuff we made up. And so really
Mm.
just this vision of oneness
Mhm.
is so important to me. And those things I get to do every day and just
Yeah.
being me in the work that I do. It's truly been amazing. Been quite a journey.
And it's incredible how this one song kind of stayed as a constant, but
Yes.
there were
Hmm.
little nuances on how you
Hmm.
perceived it and how it was received, or
Yes.
what the message you tried to deliver. So I think
Hmm.
that's just, gives me goosebumps. It's just so incredible that you start off here and then you go to here, and it's still the
Hmm.
same song but completely different. That's just amazing. I
Yes.
love that.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Yes. And music is really amazing for that. For just you can find so many meanings in it, and it can
Mm.
be your friend through time, even the same song that means something different and evolves as you evolve. So it's really
Yes.
powerful.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I kind of loved when we sort of first connected and had a chat
Hmm.
and everything. That's why I loved it. I thought this is such an incredible journey that you've been through, not just a NASA
Hmm.
bit, but doing the
Hmm.
marathon on 7 continents.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'm wondering, with that,
Hmm.
having that marathon done, that's
Hmm.
obviously in itself is huge. I mean, not
Hmm.
everyone does that.
Hmm.
Did did that song maybe play a part in your preparation, sort of mentally, to get you there, or how did you sort of, apart obviously from the physical exercise and everything,
Hmm.
mentally,
Hmm.
was music a part that helped you prepare for this
It
journey?
was. It was. It was. I actually don't listen to music when I run. A lot of people do, but that for me, I like to hear the sounds of nature, the music of
Hmm.
nature. So I listen to, just my breathing and what's going on around me.
That's fair
But
enough.
I actually but I did make running playlists. So I actually had some CD collections at the time. I know nobody uses CDs anymore, but I did. It's
I do.
okay, good. I do too. But
I still
one of
do.
the things I've actually loved doing over my whole life is pulling playlists together and making CDs of just, favorite songs, collections of songs. And so I actually had some running playlists that had motivating songs and, upbeat kind of ones. And so I would listen to them, while I was driving to work or something like that. So I had songs in my head and kind of in my spirit as I was running. And so that was a lot of fun. And actually these days I'm doing that more too, just because there's lots of music that has a really good beat for running, for the cadence of running. So again, I don't
Mm.
listen to music when I run, but I'll kind of hear songs in my head as I do it.
Mm.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. But yeah, that was,
That's
and actually,
yeah, go
so
on.
I'll just say one more thing about the marathons. It was cool because I actually, the same year that I was rejected from the astronaut program was the year that I finished the seven continents. So I actually found out about the astronaut thing about 6 weeks before my second to last marathon. So I did my last two marathons in the same year. And so that was actually really amazing timing. It was sort of like two huge milestones ending in the same year in different ways. Like one uber successful and the other one ostensibly not so successful, but again in the end became successful.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but it was but it was perfectly timed. Even with those two marathons I did that year, they were a little bit more in the sort of mysterious, esoteric, locations in
Mm,
the world. And the last one was with the solar eclipse, which is all about alignment. And so this is sort of like
wow.
this awakening me to more alignment in my life. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everything all has was entwined. They were had
Yeah,
absolutely so much to do with each other. It was really cool.
incredible, amazing. Do you think the universe has music? There is music in the
Absolutely.
universe?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Actually, it's crazy, when we have this word om, at different
Mm-hmm.
frequencies. They say that the Vedics, the original, people who kind of listened to the universe, actually things like om and the mantras and things like that came from listening to the music of the universe. That these people could actually hear the songs of the planets. Each planet actually has its own natural frequency. Earth has a natural frequency. Venus has a natural frequency. All the planets have their own natural frequencies and sounds. So there is music just radiating around in space, and
Cool.
you can hear it. I
It's
think
not going
it's
to be
really
something
amazing.
like, the Star Trek song or like a
Right,
Led
right.
Zeppelin or any sort of
Right.
rap song or something. Can you imagine if you would
No.
have to like Venus has this type of song and then,
Mhm.
Pluto, whatever that song. And that would
But
be a fun thing to do though,
it
assign like
would.
music to the
And
different
uh-huh.
planets.
Well, and incidentally, that's what Holst did, right? The planets. Like there is a Holst, the composer, has a suite called the planets, and it's funny when you listen to it. Actually, like the Mars suite, you listen, you're like, well, that's totally where the Star Wars soundtrack came from. And a
Okay.
lot, there's so many that, and I think the Jupiter one sounds a lot like a lot of old Western soundtracks. The music of this planet suite definitely inspired a lot of our modern day musical composers, I think. So yes, but it
Again,
would
it
be cool
just,
to assign a song to each planet for sure.
yeah, like your personal planet song list. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely, that would be cool.
Hmm.
Next playlist to do. I like it.
Please share it with me once you've done or with
I will.
everybody. I'd love
Yes,
to
for
hear that
sure.
one. We should probably all do it. That'd be really
We
interesting to
should.
see what we will come up with.
Right, right. Yes.
Mm.
I like it.
Which, yeah, it's something I think about a lot too. Is like we're such a tiny little piece of the whole universe, and there's so many
Mhm.
different sounds on Earth, and then obviously if
Mhm.
you go out away from Earth, there's different vibrations and songs and everything, and it just makes you think how small we actually are and how almost unimportant in the scheme of things. And I
Mhm.
think for
Mhm.
me, it's still kind of mind blowing to think we're only some small part of something so big. So,
Yes.
and if that doesn't have any form of sound or whatever, that would be really
Mhm.
strange, wouldn't it? So,
Mhm. It would. It would. Yeah, that reminds me. Actually, so one of my favorite movies is Contact, with Jodie Foster, and there's a thing she says at the end that, oh my gosh, it's amazing. She says, she had this amazing galactic experience, and said it makes you realize how small and insignificant and how rare and precious we all are. And it was
mm,
just a beautiful way to sum up kind of those polar opposites that can coexist. The universe is
mm,
so vast,
mm-hmm,
and we're so tiny, but there's only one of every single one of us. There's only one of you. There's only one of me. And in
yeah,
this lifetime, this life that we're living is so precious. And yet
yeah,
the universe is inside of us. It's all around us and it's also inside of us. So I
mm,
think we are as big as the universe ourselves. And
yeah.
it's super crazy, mind-boggling to contemplate, but just super inspiring as well, I think.
Yes, I remember one of my coaches I had. I can't remember how he said it, but it's kind of like stayed with me. He says, "You're part of the universe because you're made out of the same stardust."
Yes, yes,
Something along
absolutely.
those lines. I probably got it wrong, but
Absolutely.
it's
Mhm.
the meaning
No,
I hear
it
behind it
is.
is
Mhm.
just to think
Yes.
that we're actually made out of.
Stars.
Anyway, that's just mind
Mhm.
blowing.
Yes, it
It
is.
is. It is. Yes, let's not get carried away here talking about the universe. Although there's, I'd love to see if aliens or whatever have like their own kind of playlists and music,
Yeah.
whatever. That'd
Yep.
be if we would ever have contact with beings from other planets, I
Mhm.
think probably that'd be something I'd love to sit down and say, well, do you use sound? If so, what do you
Right.
use it for? What does it
Uh-huh.
sound like?
Yes,
That'd
yes, I
be
love
really
it.
cool.
I love it.
Now, you obviously your dream got shattered.
Mhm.
You got your song where you were able to ugly cry, as we all probably do in our life, once or twice at least,
Yes.
and it followed you through. But now you're at a point where you found your passion, your true
Mhm.
passion.
Mhm.
What is that? And is that song still relevant, or has some other kind of music taken over a little bit to
Mm.
describe what you do
Mhm.
and why you do
Mhm.
it?
Mm. Yes. So my passion is really my mission in life is to shine my light and inspire you to shine yours. So that's in the simplest form, that's what it is. So what I just love doing is helping people empower themselves. So I'm a self-empowerment coach, and I am super passionate about everyone on this planet loving themselves and owning how powerful, unique, and awesome they are. I think that is honestly, if every
Mm.
person on this earth felt that about themselves, it would solve every single problem we have in the world right now. So for me, that is my call to arms, as it were, like what I will bang on about, from the mountaintops for the rest of my life is you again loving yourself and owning how powerful, unique, and awesome you are. And so that's what I do. I coach people. When I'm speaking, it's something I speak about, and it's also just an embodiment of the way that I'm being in the world. So
Mm.
it's infused in all everything that I write about and talk about and help people with. And so that's really my passion. And I think this song is absolutely still relevant. It is still one of
Mm-hmm.
my, top songs, but there is another song that again a song that's always been a part of my life as well that I think does it uh, describes that as well, and it's All Fired Up by Pat Benatar. So I'm a
Oh,
huge, a huge Red Benatar fan,
love that
classic rock
song.
all the way. Yes. Yes. So it's, all about, I believe there comes a time when everything just falls in line and, the deepest cuts are healed by faith. But also the part where she says, ain't nobody living in a perfect world. Everybody's out there crying to be heard.
Mm.
And I got a new fire burning in my heart, lighting up the darkness, moving like a meteorite. And so I think lighting up the darkness that
Yeah.
is what I feel like I'm here to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone can be a little late. Actually, incidentally, one more marathon story. When I was at that last marathon, at the Solar Eclipse Marathon, one of the biggest things that I noticed was that so the world goes dark when the moon goes in front of the sun, and then it literally
Mm-hmm.
tiny sliver. It takes this tiny sliver, and the whole world lights up like day again. So the idea that it didn't take the whole sun coming back out from behind the moon, it was just a tiny sliver, makes me
Mm.
realize that it only takes a tiny sliver of light to transform the darkness. And that's again what I am here doing in the world. And I think everyone can be just a tiny little sliver of light and make
Mm.
a really big difference. So that's what I do.
And that song's pretty good. I
Mhm.
like that song.
Yeah. And
Really
just
cool.
all fired up. I am just fired up
Yes.
to
Let's
bring this
go.
message. Yes, let's go. So yes, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And is that what I would, I mean, for me, hearing you talk
Mhm,
about what you now do and
mhm,
that song, is
mhm.
that what you would say describes your life and or business? I would,
I think as much as any one song could,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. It's, I know
Uh,
it's hard to
Oh
just pick
yes,
one,
it's
but you know,
of course, yes. There are so many I love, but I
mm,
think so. Yes, yes. Really, all fired up is probably the theme song of my business for sure.
mm.
Yeah. Hmm.
Excellent. Is there okay, let me just rethink this one. Now, obviously, now you being a coach, you I would assume you draw a lot on your experience with the marathon and NASA specifically. But
Mhm.
where does the barefoot dancing come in? Where's that come from? I
Well,
mean,
yes. So incidentally, actually, the barefooting comes from the running. I actually, after the first marathon I ran, one of my friends introduced me to the book Born to Run, which came
mhm,
out in I think 2009 or so, and it's all about how we as humans are actually born to run, and the it kind of it didn't launch, but definitely threw into the mainstream the barefoot running movement. So when you actually take off your shoes and first of all connect with the earth, there's actually a huge grounding, that comes in when you actually put your bare feet on the earth. We are
mhm,
speaking of natural frequencies and even electrical grounding. It's actually really healing to be in physical contact with the earth. So,
yeah,
but also in when you take off your shoes, you actually prompt better running form. So there's a whole history of we don't need to get into all of this stuff, but the fancier running shoes have gotten, the more running injuries have increased, actually. So your
all
fancy running shoes
right,
don't protect you from injury, they actually create more injuries. So we are designed to run naturally, like our arches are the springs our arches are springs, our legs are springs. When you run with
mm,
proper form, your legs and your whole body adapts and cushions you from the motion. And so
mhm,
so getting in shoes that prevent your arches from working the way they're designed to work actually weakens them. So anyway, I got all into the whole barefoot running thing. So it started as a running thing, but actually, while I didn't run. There was one of my marathons where I ran barefoot part of it. I didn't run any of them all completely barefoot because I just had not built up to 26 miles. The longest I've run barefoot is 10 miles. But I
okay. Oh gosh,
um,
all right,
but I still love to do it, and but it's also just not about running. It's about just that being in touch with the earth and just
mhm,
being natural. Just whatever it is, whether it's following your natural gifts, which is kind of the biggest meaning. Just being in alignment with
mhm,
your body, harmonizing with the earth, the universe, and your inner and outer worlds. That's really what being
mhm.
barefoot is about to me. And then dancing actually. Oh, sorry. Let me
Yeah,
pause.
go on. Yeah,
Yeah, the dancing thing actually what used to be when I was in my 20s, I did a lot of social dance. So I was in the swing and country dance club and when I lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and did a lot of dancing. Have always I just absolutely loved it. So I don't do the social dancing as much anymore, but for me it is a daily dance with the universe. It is just in dancing there's a connection. It helps you sense the signals and the timing, and being a good follower, a good leader in
mm,
dancing, you have to be connected. And so for
mhm,
me now, it's like the universe is our dance partner, and we can follow the signals and the timing and just create this beautiful piece of art, which is what dance is,
mhm,
out of our lives. So that and then the whole rocket science thing. I actually have a rocket science philosophy that I apply to my coaching. So
mhm.
nothing was wasted. All the things I did, even for the astronaut thing, like it's I still get to do it in my even in my coaching life. So it
Yeah,
all those pieces work together.
incredible. So we now cover the barefoot dancing. That's
Yep.
yeah, incredible. So much thing to unpack here. I think my brain needs to go away and digest everything.
Awesome.
But it's cool. It's so much. I mean, listening to your journey and obviously how I just feel there's this red line, and I know I use the thin red line a lot when I talk about music and all that. But it's just when you talk about, dancing is all about alignment and then, doing it's to me, it all comes kind of back to sound, to music, to energy. So for me, that's all kind of related to music. So
Hmm.
it's just so amazing that you can go from science to NASA to running marathons. Everything's kind of sort of coming back to this movement, this energy, this sound, this vibration. And I don't think we think often enough how incredible that is. And
Yes.
when we talk about music, a lot of people just talk about the top 20 in America or wherever you live.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think there's so much more to that than just that. So
Yes. Yes.
I think this
The
this
thread.
this chat here really hopefully opens
Mhm.
a lot of eyes and ears and the brain and the heart as well.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what
It
I
is about vibration in essence, and we are all just a vibrating energy. That's
mm,
what we are, and that's what sound is as well. So we are sound.
yes. Let's throw that in the mix and let everyone just think about that. No, it's
Mic drop, right?
yeah, we're just gonna leave you here for 5 minutes and then we'll come back. No, we're not. It's all good. Now you've experienced through your marathons all these different nature aspects, I would assume.
Mhm.
And I always find nature is such a great musician.
Yes.
Have you got a favorite part of what nature kind of plays up when you're out in nature or running a marathon? Have you got a favorite one?
Mm. That's tough.
Probably hard.
So a couple things just surfaced when you asked the question. I
Yeah.
think I mean, this might sound kind of generic, but they're the sounds that I just love. The sound of birds,
Hmm.
just all the different chirping, and the sound of the wind and the sound of the waves. So I
Hmm.
love the sound of the ocean. Oh my gosh, absolutely love it.
Hmm.
Uh, and I I have I never really thought about the sound of the wind, but actually I've talked to my husband about this a few times. He loves the mountains, and to him the sound of the wind moving through the trees is like an ocean sound. And as we've talked about that, as I've noticed that, and because we have a lot of trees around us, and so when I listen to it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. So I don't live by the ocean, but I do live by the wind and the trees. And
Hmm.
so anyway, so those two sounds are really powerful, and then the
Yeah.
sound of the birds that just are just, they just live their lives. They're not stressed about the kind of stuff I mean, yes, they're in survival mode and they're trying to find worms for the babies and all this and building nests and all this kind of thing, but they're just out there singing their songs, singing
Doing the
their songs.
thing.
There's music
Sing the
again.
songs.
And that's what they're here for. That's
Hmm.
what they do, and they don't question their purpose.
No.
They just sing and don't care who's listening. And well, hopefully there's a mate listening or whatever it is. But in any case, the point is they are just living in nature, and so it's a really cool reminder that all this stuff that we get stressed about is so irrelevant. you know
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
but yeah, so I just like hearing the natural sounds for
Yeah.
sure.
One sound that I've come to love is I'm from Switzerland originally.
Hmm.
Most people who
Hmm.
listen to the
Cool.
podcast probably know this by now. But my grandparents they lived up in the Alps, and
Oh, beautiful.
when you have a thunderstorm in the Alps,
Yes.
it's like 100 times more intense from a sound perspective. So any
Mm.
lightning, any thunder, because it's like in a
Mhm.
valley and you have
Mhm.
water in the middle,
Mhm.
it just makes it so much more louder and intense. And it's just, for me, it's always a representation of how powerful Mother Nature is. And I'm just in
Mhm.
complete awe of
Mhm.
it. I think it's incredible.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes, I also love the sound of thunder.
mm,
Yes, it is, and I've never been to the Alps or heard the thunderstorms there, but that would be really cool. I would love to experience that. That sounds
yeah,
amazing.
it can be very scary because it is literally so loud and
Sure.
echoes and stuff, but
Hmm.
it's just amazing the power behind
Mm.
it. So hopefully
Hmm.
you can
Hmm.
experience it one day. That'd be
Yes,
cool.
I love it. I love it. Yes, yes. But yeah, lightning and thunder, that's something I also love. And this
Mm.
just the sound of rain, actually, the sound of rain, especially when you're snuggled up in bed or something and it's
I
like early in the morning
know.
or late at night and then
Yes.
you hear the sound of the rain. It's wonderful. I love that too.
Oh, I do sometimes just put rain sound on
Mm.
to
Hmm.
either work or before I go to sleep. I just think it's such a beautiful sound.
It is. It is
Yeah.
for sure. Hmm. Hmm.
Oh God, we've covered some really interesting and out there, literally out there topics and music related things. With and I love the songs that you've mentioned as well. I think they're so fitting for your journey and what you're trying to achieve. So
Thank
I
you.
do hope whoever listens to this interview goes and checks them out
Hmm.
and maybe add them to
Yeah.
their playlist. You never
There you
know.
go. There you go. For
Now, is
sure.
there anything you want to share with the B-Sider community before we wrap this jamming session up? Or, yeah, the floor's yours.
Well, I would just say, if you're interested in continuing the conversation, you can find me at my website,
Mhm.
epiclifeactually.com. The premise is your epic life actually is rocket science. And and you can do it. So, but yeah, sign up for my email list, follow me on social media. My book is out there. This year I have a lot of things coming, a lot of new things.
Hmm.
But really, what I would absolutely leave you with is you were born to live an epic life, and there is a radiant soul within you just longing to shine. So let that soul out, and because you are here to shine, and
Mm,
you get to shine just by being you. It's not about what you do. It's about being you. So just go out there and be yourself.
beautiful. Thank you, Melissa. That was wonderful. And that book that if you're watching this episode, and not just listening, there is a book in Melissa's background, which is the book that she's released.
Hmm.
So it's a nice sort of coffee table size book.
Hmm.
It looks like you've actually was that somewhere like in Antarctica or somewhere,
That
or
was, in fact, in Antarctica. Yes.
I can tell because it looks like you're wearing all the cold gear. So
Yes.
yeah. So just to give you a bit of a visual, for those who can't see the book, but it's yeah,
Yep.
it looks
Yep.
cold but amazing. So
Indeed.
and like you said, Melissa, we'll put all your details in the episode description. So if anyone's interested in your book, in
Mhm.
your life, any part of it, or a bit of help as well, all the details will be there for you to check
Thank you.
out.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Birgit. This is so much fun. I really loved it.
Thank you for coming on. I loved it. It was a really cool chat. So a little bit different to others that I've had, but each of my interviews is obviously unique, and that's what I love
For
about it.
sure.
It's even though we talk
Awesome.
about music, which can be very general, it's always very unique to each person that I
Hmm.
talk to, and that's a
Yes.
blessing to be able to do that.
It's beautiful. Thank you for pulling this together. It's a beautiful topic. Good for you for just launching into it. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you. I'm very grateful I'm able to do it.
Awesome.
Right, B-siders, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to call it not a day or a night, wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in. Please, yeah, follow along the podcast if you haven't already and share it with anyone that you might think could enjoy this episode. Otherwise, we're going to say this is it. See you later, alligator. And we're going to put the microphone on mute in a second. And I'll be back in your earbuds, as I always say, very, very soon. Until then, you all take care, keep on dancing, and keep on rocking. Yeah, until next time. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye bye.